I am so happy to see you all here tonight. You're looking very good. The operation is looking great. LCCC is looking great. And I am just glad that you're in the house. Can you give yourself a round of applause? We are here tonight to do 3 things. One, our kids are academy. They're going to come with us tonight and perform before the audience. And these kids are what we do this for. This is a fundraiser. And when you see these kids and how they perform, I think you see why we wanted to make sure that LCCC continue its operations. We have had several kids go and do wonderful things, marvelous things, not only here in Louisville, in Kentucky, but around the country. And they started right here at LCCC. And you will see some beginnings tonight of some of those people. The second thing we're doing is honoring those who have achieved and that are working in the field of IE. And this is such a wonderful time of year to do that during Juneteenth. And we are happy to be celebrating a national holiday on the day that it is official, and that is the Juneteenth, June 19th. Okay? And also the people who are working in that industry, we just thank you. We honor you. And tonight you will be recognized for the work that you do and how you do it. We will just give them a round of applause as well. And of course, none of this can be done without our sponsors. Our sponsors are what makes this happen. And those of you whose names that will continue to scroll across the screen tonight, we want to thank you for all your patronage, all that you do to make sure that this happens and that the awardees are honored for the work that they do. And then that the kids will get the recognition that they so deserve. And this is sometimes the first time that they get a chance to be on stage. But being on stage is what helps to give them that gift that they need to be able to perform in front of anybody, regardless of the size of the audience, regardless of the makeup of the audience. This is where they get their stuff. Thank you all so very much. Right now, I want to welcome our board chair for LCCC. This is a wonderful lady that has been pushing us and working with us and making sure that we get everything done. And I'm going to give it to her, Ms. Dr. Anna Smith.
Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to be here this evening. So glad that you are here. And I was thinking, when I tell people about this wonderful event, I'm like, this is like our third or fourth time to do this. I've been at every one. This is our 6th time to do this. I'm like, what? But it seems like it has just gone by so quickly, and this is our 6th time to come together to honor Juneteenth, which is just fascinating. And it seems to be like the very first time that we did this, we were one of the only organizations that actually honored Juneteenth 6 years ago. And and now here we are at our 6th time. We've gone through COVID, right? We've come out of COVID. We've gone through, recession, inflation, you name it. And here we still are very viable, marching on, celebrating this wonderful, wonderful time. And I debated about, I'm going to, kind of give a little bit of history about Juneteenth. I don't need to, because one, you're going to hear about it this evening, and secondly, I think we're all becoming much more knowledgeable about the significance of this day. And it seems like it's starting, now it's a federal holiday, right? A federal holiday, and I think that deserves a round of applause. So we're going to have a lovely evening. As they say, we're not going to be here long, we're going to be here strong, okay? And we're going to have a great time. And again, I just welcome you. I'm so glad that everybody is here. I thank all the organizations that are represented. I just look at all the colors that are out there, the wonderful greens, the reds, the blacks, the golds, all of those great colors. It's just so wonderful. And I want to give just a round of applause to the staff who helped pull together this event. And they do a phenomenal job at every single year, every single event that we have. And so they're just awesome. I can't say enough good about them. And again, as you heard, the chairman of the actual committee that worked on this, these persons say, we do this for our children. And it's so easy to realize that, a baby yesterday is a child today, and that child is going to be an adult tomorrow. So we don't need to start way, out in the future. We need to start now, honoring, developing, and helping our children to grow up in a positive, nurturing environment. So thank you again for everything that you do to help us make that happen, and just have a great time. Thank you.
And next, the most exciting thing that you can see tonight is the release. And then there's Mr. Troy Bell. Are you available? Okay. We're going to bring in Troy Bell, and he's going to present his art gallery, and we're going to do literary voice and singing.
And now, to sing for you now. Our products of local Central Community Centers Kids Arts Academy. They're no longer kids. It's she who played Belle when we did Beauty and the Beast, Mariah Martin. Dorothy when we did The Wiz, Najaya Claiborne. And during the protesting, you probably heard this young man running through the streets saying when the change is going to come. His name was Chase Dean. And now I will ask you to stand as the three of us come together to do the Negro National Anthem in the LCCC.
Lift every voice, and every voice sing to earth and heaven. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing the song
Full of faith that the dark past has taught us.
Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on. Ooh, on. We gotta keep on marching on. Ooh, March on! March on!
I don't know about you. That is great. That's why this effort is so wonderful and so beautiful. The young spirits that come through this program is what make it worthwhile. Whatever it is that you're doing, whatever you're doing to help this organization today, whatever you're doing that's going to help it tomorrow. As a matter of fact, we have a Q code under, I think we'll put it on the wall here for you to see. If you want to make donations tonight, you're able to do that as well. Okay? Also, I have been remiss in that I have not given you the title of the organization or the event that we have tonight. Not only that, but the personage by which this organization, this event is named, is here as well. So let me just have him stand just for a second. This is the 2023 Dr. Ralph Chabert Equity, Inclusive Equity Award celebration. Let's give it. Thank you for Ralph Foreman and all the work that they have done and are doing here at LCCC as far as funding and being partners with Louisville Central Community Center. Thank you all for that. Next, our MCs. We want to introduce our MCs. And I know many of you know them. They've been with us for 6 years. There's not a better couple that could have been a part of this from the start. Every year, sometimes I think they're going to walk out and say, I'm not doing this anymore, but they come back, so it must be a wonderful punishment. No, they are wonderful people, and I want to introduce them tonight. Stefan and Tracy.
Thank you, Floyd. Yes, we have enjoyed seeing this event, but next year, Troy, where are you? I've got somebody who wants to audition. Yes, right
I was available this year, they didn't tell me where the rehearsals were going to be.
Yeah, that was probably on purpose. Those, you all were amazing. I love the rendition of that song, so it sounds so much better than all of us trying to sing it together. So congratulations for that great work.
And I will tell you that there are a lot of events, and I always say this, I'm done hosting an event, so if you see me in front of a podium, it's because I really love the people of the organization, and you guys are special to us. That's why we will always be here for you. The first year I did it by myself, and I had a migraine headache and didn't have my glasses, and I couldn't see, and Tracy had to come up and kind of help and read the words for me. And so the next year, they really wanted Tracy to do it, but they didn't know how to ask her without hurting my feelings, so they got us both to do it together. So that's why you see the two of us here. With that said, we have a lot of stuff that we're going to share with you tonight. You're going to hear more about this great federal holiday, this great organization, and the people we're here to serve.
That's right. Happy Juneteenth to everyone. So first up, we're going to keep it moving, and don't forget about donating. Please, we're going to mention that all night long, a broken record. So we're going to keep saying you can leave a check, you can donate online, but we really want to raise money for this wonderful organization. So first up, we're going to introduce a young lady who is a lover of Louisville. She's super passionate about this community, about this organization. So please help me welcome Deputy Mayor Barbara Sexton-Smith.
Story about Stefan and Tracy, because Kevin Fields called me and said, how in the world are we going to ask Tracy and not Stefan? I said, wow. Kevin, I made that up. That's what happened.
That's true. I know it's true.
Well, good evening. And yes, I am here this evening for just a couple of moments, Ralph. Congratulations. What a beautiful event this is. And thank and the more than 5,000 men and women who work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, meeting the needs and serving all of us throughout the great city of Louisville, Kentucky. Mayor Craig Greenberg is over at the Fraser Museum right now because he is helping to celebrate the Frank X. Walker Poet Laureate event. He was here earlier, so if you were here on time, he was here for the 5 o'clock reception and took lots of great pictures, but I did want to mention that he had joined us here. He has attended a record-setting number of Juneteenth events during the last 7 days, and what a great thing our city has done. We have really put Juneteenth on its heels and then some. But very quickly, I must say, I had tears in my eyes, Lucille, as the children were singing, because you see, the 3 young adults that were up here singing, I'm not sure they were even born. I know they had not entered kindergarten the first time I came here. And it wasn't this beautiful building. It was a concrete block building right over here that you see when you're driving down 13th Street. And there was a little door with no sign on it. And Geraldine Woods and Sam Watkins invited me to come, and they said, you've got to come over here. The Fund for the Arts has to understand what the Kids Art Academy is. And you see, I went to help the Fund for the Arts for 6 weeks. But I met the kids here. Kevin, you've never heard me tell this story. And it was when I saw the dreams in their hearts and on their faces and saw what they were doing, I said, I think I'll stay a little longer than 6 weeks. Well, 17 years later, I left the Fund for the Arts, and all these kids are all over the globe on stages singing and acting and dancing. And I found out about a little boy that was about this high. His name was Chase Dean. Yes, y'all, many of you all had me come around with paper pledge cards asking you for money. I won't do that for the Fund for the Arts tonight, because tonight is all about Louisville Central Community Center and giving money to that vision and that dream. But there I was on a midnight shift at one of the jail operations, and one of the employees there, I believe, was Chase's grandmother. I know it's a connection, or an aunt, or something. Your mother. Okay, it was his mother. Thank you so much for helping me. I do have a little amnesia. That's what we call dementia, when we don't want to admit it. And this beautiful woman came up to me and told all the other folks in the room, in the break room, get your pens out, get your pledge cards out, make sure you give more money than you thought you were going to give, because my son is in these programs she's talking about, and by golly, the rest is history. Yeah. See what happens? The magic happens. So I'm not going to hold you long. That's what my pastor says. He says, Juneteenth goes far beyond General Granger moving into Galveston, Texas to read the General Orders number 3 on June 19th of 1865. I researched to see if I could find something that maybe someone in this room had not heard or learned yet about Juneteenth. I have heard dozens of speeches all week long, and not one person has mentioned, Leanne, the 16,000. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about, the 16,000. We got one. Well, 16,000 troops headed to Texas in May of 1865. That's right. We don't talk about them. We don't remember them because they're part of our story, America's story, which is not being told often enough or completely enough. Those 16,000 troops were the United States colored troops. They were sent to Texas to defeat the remaining Confederate forces that were there. They were also sent to Galveston, Texas to help defeat the French forces led by Maximilian, because the French forces were so mighty and they thought they were going to take over Texas and California. And 16,000 U.S. colored troops said, not so fast, and they defeated them. And lastly, the 16,000 troops were there in Texas. They were then re-envisioned and woven into the Buffalo Soldiers in the ongoing effort and the disposition of the land and the genocide against our Native Americans. This is where it gets tricky. The Native Americans my people, the Cherokee Nation, the principal people. That's right. And it was W.E.B. Du Bois that said, do not turn a blind eye to the complexities of our history. No, we won't. We will face our history, we'll recognize our history, and we will embrace our history, every aspect of it. And then, you cannot separate peace from freedom, says Malcolm X. And then Desmond Tutu comes in and wraps around and says, my humanity is bound up in yours, because we must celebrate human together. That's the only way to recognize it. Now, I say, together we create a great connected community for all. And what in the heck is a great connected community? It is a community that is safe, healthy, educated, and free from poverty and oppression. That's what it is. And lastly, in closing, I can't walk down those stairs without giving you a few ingredients and a call to action and a choice that each and every one of us has the opportunity to make this evening. The ingredients, of course, are diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging. Diversity is an act, or a fact, and inclusion is an act, and equity, I posit to you, is a choice. And belonging, I say, is an outcome. So what do we do with those things? Here's the call to action. We must come together to start the beginning. We must keep together so we have progress. The key and the trick is, can we work together to achieve success? Those are the three actions. So lastly, you have great thoughts in your mind. You've been thinking about it all week. What are you going to do in the coming weeks, months, and before next Juneteenth? To know your history, I say this. Thoughts without passion are simply figments of our imagination. Passion without action is simply a dream. But action changes lives by the choices we make. So, we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. Or not. Or not. We do not have to, because the choices we make today become our history tomorrow. Opportunities create choices, and choices create opportunities. So I say, together today, stronger tomorrow. Are you with me? We can do this. Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. That's awesome. I was thinking maybe this was the keynote speech. So, next up, it is time for us to fellowship. So the buffet is going to start. So we've done this quite a bit. So what I'm going to ask is you guys to look at the number on your table, and we are going to do this kind of in an orderly fashion. So maybe we do 5 tables at a time, so not everybody's standing in line at the same time. So we could go 1 through 5, and then 6 through 10. We get the drill, and we'll get through it. So enjoy the meal, and we'll be right back.
Okay, to get started, or restart, I want to thank you all again for being here. Thank you to LCCC. I was reading something the other day, looking at Father's Day cards, and one of the cards said, as a father, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present. And the same thing can be said about organizations like LCCC. You don't have to be perfect, just present. And we thank you guys so much again for being present.
Okay, so we're going to get our program started. So we have the honor of introducing the man who's going to introduce our keynote speaker. And we already mentioned Dr. Ralph A. Chabert. It's so fitting that this award ceremony, this gala, is named after him. He's very much a pioneer. So many people in this community know this. He was the first Chief Diversity Officer at Brown-Forman, and I had the honor of working with him. He's one of those people who, if you ask, he'll do it. If you need somebody to talk to, I've had conversations in his office when I needed help, when I felt like I wasn't getting what I needed from my manager. Ralph was there to support me. So I just love him and just really thank him for all that he's done for me and this community. So he retired, so he was here last year. He's retired from ground foreman, but definitely not resting, right? Because you are still working in this community. So let's welcome Dr. Ralph A. Chabert.
Ralph, thank you.
Good evening. I get the pleasure of introducing Kevin, Reverend Doctor, and I wanted to do something different because he's got a bio that's amazing to me. I don't know that there's something that he hasn't done. He has a street named after him. He's just an amazing man in our community. And I thought, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. So one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to share just quickly a bit of poetry. And it goes a little bit like this, and I have it back in here just in case I forget it all. So I've got it here, but it's 6 humans trapped by happenstance in a dark and bitter cold. Each one possessed a stick of wood, or so the story is told. Their dying fire in need of bombs. The first man held his back. For on the faces around the fire, he noticed one was black. The next man looking across the way saw one not from his church and couldn't bring himself to give the fire his stick of birch. Another man sat in tattered clothes and gave his coat a pitch. Why should my law be put to use? So if you will warm the idle rich. The rich man just sat back and thought of all the wealth that he had in store and how to keep what he had earned from the lazy, shiftless poor. The black man's face bespoke revenge as the fire passed from his sight. For in his stick of wood, all he could see was a chance to spite him out. The last man of this forlorn group gave nothing except to gain. Giving only to those who gave was how he played the game. With logs held tight and death's still hands, was proof of human sin. They didn't die from the cold without. They died from the cold within. And now you might ask, all right, now how are we supposed to tie that in with, an intro for our keynote speaker? And I'm gonna share this part that I wrote, and I better get this part, so I better read it. And I said, first let me say, I want to talk about a divided country, and each of our recipients is doing their part to be more involved with creating warmth in our lived experiences by creating safe places where inclusion and equity thrives. And then I thought about Dr. Cosby, and I said, he's no stranger to this work. He's also one of those individuals who's worked tirelessly, and he works tirelessly to better humanity. He often makes himself vulnerable, and at times he is criticized while fighting against the cold outside, which can be our inhumanity to one another. But he does his work of selflessly lifting and lighting fires of faith in each of us, because he knows that as long as we have a warm flicker of hope within, that hope replaces the cold chill of desperation and a lost sense of our shared humanity on the outside. And with that, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you, Reverend Dr.
Okay, I was sharing with Brother Ralph that I need that poem. That was profound. Thank you, sir, for the very gracious and kind introduction and for your friendship. As the president of a college and anyone who is giving leadership to a nonprofit, you know that presidents of HBCUs shake hands like this. I went to Brown-Forman to shake their hand. They looked at my hand and said, what we want to give to you will take 2 hands and some borrowed hands to start a teacher education program at Simmons College. Brown-Forman, because of the influence of Ralph, invested in the initiative $10 million. And what was paradoxical about the gift was when I tried to thank him and Jill Horn, they kept thanking me for facilitating the resources that would make a difference in our community. To have you introduce me is a signature honor, and it is right that this award ceremony is named in your honor. You are a difference maker. Thank you, sir. There's many reasons why I love Kevin Fields. First, because he has a handsome first name. In fact, if you trace the etymology of the name Kevin, it literally, check it out, means handsome. And we will say amen to that. Thank you for your great work and the work of LCCC and the difference that you are making. It does not take much size to criticize. Anyone can be critical. But to make a difference, as LCCC is making and has made for many years, speaks volumes about your leadership and the leadership that has guided this institution for many years. And you're to be applauded and commended along with the board of LCCC. Thank you so much. Let's give them an applause. And to all of the recipients, congratulations to all of you. Amen. Difference makers. All right. So many people go through life asking one question: what's in it for me? But the real question should be, what's in me for other people? That's right. What's in me for other people? And I know many of the recipients who will be celebrating today. That's how they live. They're not me-centered. Because anytime you are me-centered, you are off-centered. When you are stuck on yourself, you will be stuck with yourself, and no one will want you but yourself. It has been said, perhaps you heard it, he who has the most toys when they die wins the race of life. But when you die, if all you have is toys, then you're the loser. You're the loser. I have a granddaughter who loves to play Monopoly. And when you win, that greed impulse kicks in. And her greed instinct kicked in. Because everybody was landing on her property. You know, she got all of the get out of jail free cards. She was winning. But even though she had collected all the money, guess what? At the end of the day, all the money went back into the box. Everything, the houses and everything went back into the box. Okay, even hers. And at the end of life, all of us is going to a box. And I have never seen a Brings Money truck in a funeral procession. Someone, when you try to grasp and hold on and hoard, eventually it will pass through your hands. So the true test of the quality of anyone's life is the difference that you make in people's lives. And we're to be commended, all of you who are recipients of these awards. Let's give them a hand again. Here's our message today, and I want to talk to you about some unique challenges in the Black community, in as much as we are in Russell. In the Black community, according to the DOJ report that was issued in March of this year, the city of Louisville has more Black concentrated poverty than any city in the United States of America. And let that percolate in your mind. And because of the unique challenges that melanated people face, I want to talk today on a nursery rhyme that is so instructive, so illuminating, that when you unpack it, it speaks volumes, I think, to us. And I want to talk to you about this thought: from the mice to the mighty. From the mice to the mighty. And here is the nursery rhyme that we learned when we were children. Pussycat, pussycat, where have you been? I've been to London to visit the Queen. Pussycat, pussycat, what saw you there? I frightened a little mouse under a chair. This nursery rhyme has always haunted me. And the reason why this nursery rhyme haunts me, even to this day, is because of the tragedy of which the nursery rhyme speaks. It is the story of a cat who had a great opportunity but missed his great opportunity because of limited aspirations. The cat, I want you to think about this. This cat had the opportunity to connect with the Queen of England. And if the cat had connected with the Queen of England, let me tell you what would have happened to the cat. It would have opened up new possibilities for the cat. The Queen was of a higher stature than the mouse. The Queen is perhaps one of the most powerful persons in the world, and the Queen could have provided the cat with unimaginable connections. Cats like grooming. And this Queen, had he connected with the Queen, could have helped him with grooming and brushing. Cats like scratching posts. Do you know what kind of scratching posts the Queen could have gotten for the cat? Cats like toys for mental stimulation. And the Queen could have hooked the cat up. Cats like kitty litter. Boy, could the Queen hooked up the cat with kitty litter. All these opportunities and connections and hookups that the Queen could have made available to to the cat, but the cat missed it. And you know why the cat missed what the queen could have done? Because instead of hooking up with the queen, the cat settled for the mundane. The cat, instead of talking to the queen, getting to know the queen, being in the presence of the queen, let me tell you what the cat did. The cat decided to chase a little mouse under the chair. And I've been thinking about that cat ever since I was a child. And I decided to do some analysis of the cat. And ask, cat, why? Why did you go to London in the presence of the queen? And all that can be said about you is that you frightened a little mouse under a chair. Well, I thought about it, and I studied, and I discovered that perhaps it's because of the predatory instincts of cats. It's something about a fast-moving mouse triggers the predatory instincts of a cat. Or maybe it was the sensory perception of the cat that got activated when the cat heard the inaudible high pitch of the mouse that we can't detect with human ears, but the cat can. Or perhaps it was the olfactory transmitters of the mouse's smell that inflamed the central nervous system of the cat. Or perhaps it was the past experiences of the cat of hunting mice in the past that reinforced in the cat's brain the continued experiences of neurologically induced repeated behavior. Now, if you were to ask the cat to write an assessment, cat, what is there in London to see? Let me tell you what the cat would say. The cat would say, meow. And that the only thing in London to see is mice and the pitter-patter of mice feet and nibbling mice, because it's a mouse haven. But you and I know that there's more to see in London besides mice. Of course, he could have had a relationship with the queen, but even if he chose not to talk to the queen, there's still more to see in London than mice. There was Big Ben. There was the House of Parliament. There was Buckingham Palace. There was St. Paul's Cathedral. There was Hyde Park, where so many speeches have been made. There was Westminster Abbey. But the cat didn't see any of that, didn't talk about any of that, because all the cat saw was a little mouse under a chair. Now, why am I talking about this cat? Because it's a metaphor for what we experience in the United States of America. Because just like the cat is not able to see the reality, a reality beyond mice, it can't see a reality beyond mice. There are many, when you talk about injustice or racism or white supremacy, that they can't see it. They cannot see that reality. And just like the cat can only see in a narrow way, quite often we as Americans what we can see. We can only see what we have been conditioned and programmed to see, and we deny the reality of anything beyond what we have been conditioned and programmed to see. When we talk about racism and white supremacy, there will be those who say, oh no, that was in the past. Today we live in a colorblind society. No, we don't live in a colorblind society. We live in a history-blind society. And because we live in a history-blind society, we now live in a justice-blind society. When I hear people like presidential candidate Senator Tim Scott, God bless his soul, say that systemic racism does not exist anymore, I shout at the television and I ask this question. Would somebody please ask him, what do you mean by racism? How do you define racism? Racism often is so narrowly defined as me not liking you or me mistreating you because you are different than me. That is not racism. That is prejudice. Racism is prejudice plus power to enforce and institutionalize your prejudice. Let me define what racism is. Racism, hear me carefully, is the total maldistribution of wealth, resources, power into the control of white America for the benefit of white America to the exclusion of black America. The word that best summarizes racism is this one word: disparities. Racism is disparities. And in our country, in our state, and in our city, what we experience is disparities. Health disparities between blacks and whites. We don't live long if you're black. We were victims to hypertension and heart disease. The disparities, criminal justice. Black people are 13% of the population. We constitute 40% of those who are incarcerated. That's a disparity. Educational disparities. The wealth gap. Black people are 13% of the population, and we control 2.6% of the wealth, and our wealth positionality has not changed much since black enslavement. The DOJ report that came out in March says that here's the disparity, the largest gap in America of a city is the gap between young black Americans ages 16 to 24 who are not working or going to school. So here in our city, in Louisville, Kentucky, we lead the nation for the greatest gap, according to the DOJ report, page 6. The greatest gap between black youth ages 16 to 24. And Which I'm glad we're having Juneteenth, and we're focusing on the Emancipation Proclamation, and it finally getting to Galveston, Texas, 2 years after it was issued in 1863 by a reluctant Abraham Lincoln, who issued it not because he loved black people, but because Lee was kicking Grant's behind. And it was a war measure. So they needed black troops, so they had a little jingle which said, now rally boys, let's rally, let us never mind the past. We got a hard road to travel, but our day is coming fast. For God is for the right, and we have no need to fear, because the Union will be saved by the colored volunteers. And they needed colored volunteers, and we volunteered, and we saved the Union. And we have Juneteenth, but we have to be careful, I tell my congregation this, about substituting symbols for substance. And the symbols I'm talking about is what you got. Don't go for the okie doke, for the shell game. The symbols I'm talking about are this. Symbols like street names. Changing the street to Muhammad Ali, or changing the street to Roy Wilkins, or changing the street to Martin Luther King, and he can't live on the street. Symbols, holidays, like Juneteenth. Juneteenth, a holiday. That's images. Look on television, you see blacks and whites together. T, tokens. Where you have a black person in a position, but they have no power. They have status without strength. They have position, but they have no power because they're tokens. Symbols, holidays, images, and tokens, which is an acronym that you will never to forget. Symbols, holidays, images, tokens. The only way you end racism, and I won't be satisfied, and you should not be satisfied until you see the disparities and the gulf and the gaps that exist close. And the reason why there are gaps is not because black folk are trifling and lazy. But the reason why there are gaps is because of public policy. From 1619 to the present time, and can I give it to you? You can remember it's an injustice across images. The black image has been run through the mud as being incompetent and insufficient. The first major movie in American history was produced by a man here in Kentucky called Birth of a Nation, in which it depicted black people as buffoons. That was in 1915. And then not after that, here comes another movie in which somebody comes out of Africa and is fixated with white women and climbs up the Empire State Building, and they have to shoot him down, which was a metaphor for black people who have to be shot down, because there was a movie about Jack Johnson, the first black ever. And then I had to go on television programs like Tarzan, who subdued a whole continent. And then in the 60s, when I was a kid, there was a movie called The Planet of the Earth. All these images to reinforce stereotypes, Planet of the Earth, in which, because of a nuclear reaction, society had been inverted and the primates are on top. These are images, narratives, the story. We have a zoom lens when it comes to history. We zoom in on certain parts of history we zoom in on the certain parts of history that will not make us uncomfortable about the reality of American history. Images, I-N, narrative, J, Jim Crow, U, urban renewal, why is there a 9th Street? Why is there a Russell? S, slavery. What is slavery? Slavery means being somebody's property. Slavery means the inability to form a family. Slavery meant to be classified as a subhuman. Slavery meant owning nothing, including yourself. If you ran away, you were accused of stealing yourself. Slavery was the inability to protect your children. It was forced ignorance. It was brutal scar-producing slavery. It was hard labor from dusk to dawn. It was rape. It was experimentation on your bodies. That is slavery. Images, narratives, Jim Crow, work renewal, slavery, T, terrorism, lynchings. I, mass incarceration. Incarceration, C, constant courts, E, economic exclusion. And the reason why we have a Juneteenth, is to raise historical awareness of the history of our country that has produced the disparities that exist. See, the reason the cat only wants to talk about the mouse, and the reason why the cat just focuses on the mouse is because it is the cat's story. It's the cat's story. So the cat gets to talk about the mice. And we've heard one story, but we have not heard the whole American story, the whole American saga. Now what's worse is when the mice start reading the story that the cat produced. Because if the mouse starts reading the cat story, then the mice will turn on each other. And I let me talk to black folks for a minute. Because it's easy for us to turn on each other. Forgive the personal reference. But the mayor of our city put in a $5 million allocation. He's a great mayor. For a black institution called the Family Life Center. And the pushback did not come primarily from white folk. It came from black folk. It came from other mice. And others who said, well, you know, it ought to go into other institutions that we don't own. And in the newspaper, someone said, well, I don't want it to go to the Family Life Center, the allocation, because I can go to the California Community Center free. And my response is that there is nothing free. That somebody is paying for it. And one thing we got to get out of our head is this word, free. Though it is free to you, somebody's picking up the tab. And who's picking up the tab is city government, who is giving money to the Y to help our kids in the summertime. So it's not free, it is the city picking up the tab. Now, my thoughts are this. That if we're going to use public funds to help black kids, the first thing that the city should ask is this: are there any black institutions that we can give the money to, like LCCC, so that they can provide the services? We don't need, listen to me, simply to be the clients. We need to be the contractors. We need to be the decision makers and not just the passive observers. Listen to me. We need to control the payroll instead of being on somebody's become mighty. And I understand why they hate it. It's easy to understand why mice in the black community attack each other. Imagine playing musical chairs. If there are 10 chairs with music playing, dude, there's 10 people, but there's only one chair. So that when the music stops, guess what those 10 people in the black community are doing? Fighting over one chair, shooting each other over one chair, killing each other in West Louisville over one chair. You don't have one chair in the East End. You don't have one chair out in the burbs. We got one chair that we fight over in the black community. And the person who gets in the chair, we want to kill them instead of coming together and saying the problem is we need more chairs. In the black community. Boy, if the mouse ever learns what's happening, if the mouse starts working with other mice in cooperation and not competition, that mouse will be so mighty. If the mouse starts saying, you know what, I ain't reading that cat's book, I ain't thinking about what that cat says, I'm gonna read my own story. Now watch out, mouse, when you start thinking for yourself, because they're gonna accuse you of CRT, critical race theory. But it is not until the mouse stops thinking his thoughts after the cat will the mouse truly be free. I once heard a story, I'm true. I heard a story about a cat, and the mice had to run in the house until the woman in the house brought a cat, and the mouse saw the cat, and the mouse said, you know what are we gonna do? We got a cat. And he's anti-mouse. And they had a meeting of the mice. And one mouse said, I got an idea. And the mice said, well, what is it? Why don't we take this veil and put it on the cat's tail? And although the cat was a stealth hunter, when he's coming towards us, the veil will rain that's on his tail, and we can scurry on because he's got a veil on his tail. And all the mice got excited and said, that's a great idea. Put a veil on the cat's tail. But then someone asked the question, who is going to be the mouse that's going to put the veil on the cat's tail? And what they realized, that if they were going to get rid of that cat, it could not just be one mouse. That it was going to take multiple mice. One mouse to distract the cat. One mouse to tease the cat. While the other mouse is coming up, sneaking up behind the cat. It was going to take a coalition of mice coming together. And if we are going to fix our community, we got to quit hating on each other. We got to quit, listen to me. We got to quit turning on each other and turn to each other. In our collective strength, we can find resilience when Parkland joins hands with Russell, and Russell joins hands with Shawnee, and Shawnee joins hands with Park Duvall, and Park Duvall joins hands with California, and when California joins hands with Chickasaw, when Chickasaw joins hands with Algonquin, when Algonquin joins hands with Newburgh, when Newburgh joins hands with Smoketown, empowering each other, supporting each other, shouldering each other. We don't have to see eye to eye to walk hand in hand. It's only when we come together, because ultimately it is not about us. It's not about LCCC or You got a world filled with cash. And it's only when we come together and lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise, high as the listening skies. Let it resound, loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the hope, the faith that the past has brought us. Sing a song full of the hope that the back has propelled us. Out of the gloomy past till we now stand at last. Well, the white gleam of our North Star is cash. It is time for us, my brothers and sisters, to move from being mice to being mighty by sticking together. Thank you so very much for this opportunity to speak.
He set the podium on fire. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Is there any water in the house?
Hey, I wanted to share something real quick. Tracy told me to keep it moving, but I want you to know, for those of you who don't know Dr. Cosby, I know dozens of stories, so if I see you again, I'll tell you some of the other ones if you want. But one story, one of my favorite stories about Dr. Cosby, we had just moved back to town like 20-something years ago, and I was at a repast. Tracy and I were at a repast, and so we went in and we were sitting and talking with the director of the Family Life Center, Pat Matheson, and she got a call from Cosby, and she said, he's on his way to an event, but he picked up some man on the street who was falling down drunk, and he wants to get him into rehab, and he better get ready to go today. And so we're sitting there talking. About 10 minutes later, Cosby comes. I know he had just gotten a new car. He's in a suit, and he's got this guy who reeks of alcohol. His eyes are swollen shut from either a fight or something else, and he was a mess. Now remember, we left, and I was like, good luck with that. And then, fast forward a couple of months later, maybe a year later, I was at a meeting at St. Stephen, and there was a guy moving tables and working, and he came up to me and he said, you keep looking at me, you know me from somewhere. And I said, yeah, I do, I can't remember where. And he said, I was the man that Dr. Cosby picked up that day. And so not only did he stop what he was doing and pick up someone and brought him in, but he helped him turn his life around. I don't know whatever happened to that man, but I do know that because of Dr. Cosby, that he got a second or a third or a fourth chance. So keep up the great work, Doc. Thank you so much for all you do.
As we continue this program, I want everybody to look at page 19 in your program. If you want to help this community purchase some more chairs for this community, we want more than one. Please consider making a donation this evening. We'll take your checks as well, but also use the QR code to make a donation. Thank you all so much. So we're going to demonstrate more about what this great organization does. So we're going to ask Troy Bell to come up and introduce some more of our young people, and they're going to demonstrate what happens every day at LCCC.
Take your time, brother.
Home from the national tour of Hits the Musical is a product of local Central Community Center's Kids Arts Academy. I am proud to have a hand in the vocal selecting of this little girl who was one of two children from Louisville, Kentucky, to represent the nation in the latest national tour. Hits the Musical. I said that right? This little girl's name is Carson Taylor. She's going to come and sing for us now before we have the testimony. Carson Taylor, please give us something, you all. Carson. Oh, there she is.
Isn't it neat? Why don't you think my collection's complete? is in really, really good hands. I would like to do a poem that is by Gabriel Bernard called I Will Rise and Shine. I will rise and shine like the smiling morning sun, from grass to grace, like a phoenix rising from its ashes. No hooks will hold me back, no weights, no stumbling blocks. I will rise and fly like an eagle from its nest, high and high without rest. I am the predator and not the prey, replacing my claws of clay with ones of iron. I count on my prey like a lion. I will not sit back and let them watch me and stab me behind my back. I will not be ashamed or disgraced, neither let their words of hate, their love of hate, decide my fate. Thank you. When I first heard about this program, this theater program at LCCC, if I'm going to be 110% honest, I was very doubtful. I thought my goal in life was to be a fashion designer, designing clothes, being on Project Runway, that sort of thing. But boy, was I wrong. Oh man, was I so very wrong. LCCC has changed the course of my life for the better, for now I am a professional actor in the film and theater industry. Being at LCCC and being a part of this program and being an alumni here has taught me to become the independent, useful, creative woman I am today. It has let me push through bad times of strife when I believe I would not be able to make it through. Using theater as a weight and as a guide for me to continue in my life to not only survive but thrive. And now, I'm in film and TV shows and plays. And I cannot thank LCCC and the Youth Repertory Theater Troupe of Louisville enough for the doors it has opened to me, for the mentors it has given me, and to see that LCCC is still continuing to flourish with amazing talent and still pushing out creative performers and getting them ready for what all the world has to give them. It gives me a warmth in my heart that nothing will be able to give me. So when I say that LCCC has helped me for the better, through times of joy, celebration, strife, I say with my chest that LCCC will always be a part of me, ever since the Wiz. And I will continue to use all that I learned from here to not only push myself, to push the youth, to continue to be creative, continue to perform, continue to do what you do best. Thank you.
That is awesome. I hope you all are bought into the mission of this wonderful organization. So we're going to move on into the awards portion, and before we get started, I want you to know that this award that you see on the stage is not your regular go buy at a trophy store award. This has a lot of thought and curation put into this award. So we're going to have two wonderful folks come up and tell you a little bit about this award before we give it out. So please welcome Ms. Elmer Lucille Allen and Ben Ruiz.
Ladies first. Elmer Lucille and I and Ralph were both ex-Brown employees. Thank you, Brown Foreman, for being part of the West End going back to over 100 years. So, you know, Juneteenth's all about history. So you feed right into that. I just want to mention that the award itself, I'm an art director, and I was given the job of coming up with an award, and I was stymied. So I went to visit my friend Ed Hamilton, and he, for free, he said, he'll do it. So I said, Ed, how about like the Oscar of diversity, inclusion, equity? He said, well, Ben, instead of one figure, W. So that W to me also has a significance of the fact that we are woke. And woke, we are woke when one knows equality, W-O-K-E. Come on. That is woke.
First of all, I would just like to say, he talked about Brown Foreman. I recognize, I went to Brown Foreman in 1966. I'm 91 years old, and I worked with this program. And I would like to say that I would like to have everyone who is a member of the Lyman T. Johnson Award Committee, if they would please stand today. Is anyone here for that? Oh, we're here. Thank you so very much for being out here. Thanks so very much.
Okay, so now we're going to have Ms. Renee Goatley come up and give away some awards. She is the chair of the LCCC Committee Selection Committee, the Selection Committee Chair, and she's in her day job, she's the Executive Director of Human Relations Committee of the Louisville Metro Government. So please welcome Ms. Renee Goatley.
Good evening, everyone. This is the most exciting part of the evening. I want to thank our Planning Committee Chair, Mr. Floyd Smith of River City Bank, and the phenomenal Ms. Elma Lucille Allen and Dr. Ralph D. Chabert for being part of the selection committee colleagues this year. I also want to give thanks to LCC's President and CEO, Mr. Kevin Fields, for his leadership, and to the LCC staff for their hard work and professionalism, working with me even to pull all of this together. And to the agency's board of directors for empowering us to present this program. This is such a good thing in our community. Thank you, nomination committee, for presenting such a competitive slate of business, community, and institutional leaders from corporate, education, healthcare, community-based nonprofit sectors. Let us be reminded why the Dr. Ralph D. Chabert Trustees Inclusive Equity Awards movement was created by LCCC. After hearing tonight's powerful keynote address as delivered by Dr. Cosby, thank you again for such an enlightening teaching of Juneteenth and what we in this community need to do to move forward. I think we should all have a deeper appreciation of the importance of Juneteenth and why this federal holiday symbolizes the ongoing need for America to reconcile its past and current injustices of slavery and ongoing systemic racism. The effects of racial inequity have plagued us for generations, caused African American and other disenfranchised communities to remain in dire need of social, economic, and racial justice. Tonight's Juneteenth celebration represents the culmination of a community-driven effort to recognize and celebrate individuals and entities within our city that are making a significant impact in areas of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Nominations for the IE Award are accepted year-round by going to the LCCCnews.org website and by responding to promotional advertisement of our program. Planning for the 2024 IE Awards is already underway, so as you would experience impactful leadership being demonstrated by entities that merit community-wide recognition, please complete and forward your nomination to us. Tonight, I'm honored to present the 2023 Dr. Ralph D. Chabert Trustees of Inclusive Equity Award to honorees who represent our 6 award categories. The first 3 are for large, medium, and small corporations. The others are in sectors of education, healthcare, community-based grassroots organizations. As I present each honoree, we ask that you come to the stage as we listen to your bio sketch video. We also ask that you take part in a photo on stage and have brief acceptance remarks. Then be seated here in one of the chairs to my right. So, ready to get started? Our first awardee for category companies of 1,000 or more employees. This award goes to Michelle Cunningham.
These are the words introduced by Michelle Cunningham, Local Resource Coordinator at Jefferson County Regional Interagency Council, Savin County Services. Michelle advocates for the inclusion of all voices in the strategic planning of programs and services at a state level. She encouraged policy changes within systems of care to promote educational and training to all staff. Michelle was instrumental in the development of ESL materials when assessing community needs. Michelle has experience advocating for others in the justice system, healthcare setting, waiver programming, education, community-led organizations, and behavioral health capacities. As a leader, Michelle worked closely with her team to ensure everyone is represented and given opportunities for success in life. This has been the driving force for her continued efforts in making a positive and sustainable impact within the community. Michelle has received recognition including #1 supporter, Office of Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods, the Sunburst Award through Savin County Services, and the Ambassador Award from Commission 22. Her commitment to people in her community is apparent through her dedication to advocacy. Michelle strives to ensure that the underrepresented have a platform to be heard, to advocate for action and change, to be a champion for access and equity, and to continue to be the loudest voice in the room on the inequities that have impacted others. Join us as we honor Michelle Cunningham with the 2023 Dr. Ralph D. Chabert Trustee of Inclusive Equity Award.
So this is really nerve-wracking, and I don't do public speaking, so I had to write one out so that I would not forget what to say and to be thorough as far as my acceptance, so bear with me. I've had the privilege of working for the last 26 years working in social services, getting to meet amazingly gifted individuals, work in partnership with role models, serve beside families doing great work, assist in supportive measures and strengthen areas where barriers were present, cheer on families and children who were succeeding in their journey of life and ensuring that they have opportunities to continue to develop their God-given skills and talents, advocate alongside those with like-minded passions and goals as myself for everyone to have equality throughout and to help be the change that others behind me can continue to lead by example after I'm no longer gone. However, none of this would be possible without giving recognition to the company that allows that space to occur. So a huge thank you to Savin County for always being willing to ask the questions of what is needed to help support the needs of the families that we serve. What areas or programs are needed to ensure opportunities for others to be involved in the work that we do daily? Where are the areas and opportunities for growth so we can continually reassess and impact, making a difference in the communities that we serve, and providing those spaces for those to happen? I've said this, and I'll continue to say this, it only takes one of us to stand up and be the change and to set path for others to do the same. And with that, we can begin to make ripple effects and the structural changes needed to ensure everyone is included. Everyone has what is needed to make them successful in life. And like Jesse Jackson once said, when everyone's included, everyone wins. Amen. We need to have those tough conversations to be able to break down the barriers that have been created over time and that continue to prevent people from finding success in life. Those injustices were not created overnight, and they won't be repaired overnight. But if we continue to do nothing, say nothing, change nothing, then wrongs continue to be written. I have faith that we can do better, we can be better, we can be better and have better for all. We are the change, we have the opportunities to make that change. We are given platforms to speak the truth to prevent more harm from happening, and it all starts within, and it can resonate out into our work, our relationships, our communities, and our systems. So thank you for allowing me to be a vessel where work can be done, where spaces can be created, where systems can be reimagined, and where people can be seen. And thank you to all that continue to be the voices in this effort, so that one day we can just celebrate equality for all, not just the milestones in getting there. Thank you.
Our next category is for companies 500 to 999 employees, and that award goes to Ms. Ira Stalls.
These are the words used to describe Ira J. Sauls, McDonald's franchisee. Ira owns 8 McDonald's restaurants across Louisville, Kentucky. She began her career at McDonald's as an accountant. In 1991, she became the first Black woman to own a McDonald's in Indiana and then Kentucky in 1995. Ira is not only an outstanding businesswoman, but she is a community servant who gives and gives without the need for recognition. She has touched the lives of many and provides opportunities for young people in her restaurants, providing them with not only employment but mentorship. Ira is a lifetime member of the NAACP. She is also a member of the National Black McDonald's Operators Association, serving as treasurer for the regional chapter and a member of the McDonald's Leadership Committee. Ira was presented the Fred L. Turner Award, which is given to the top 1% of franchisees in the world annually. Ira is a proud graduate of Northern Illinois University, earning a bachelor's in accounting and a master's in public administration. Ira is a proud member of the First Baptist Church of Jeffersontown, where she teaches Vacation Bible School. Ira and her husband are the proud parents of 4 adult children and 2 grandchildren. Join us as we honor Ira J. Sauls with the 2023 Dr. Ralph A. Chabert, Trustee of Inclusive Equity Award.
I would like to first of all say thank you. Thank you to this organization for recognizing me. It was a surprise and I appreciate it. I cannot go any further without saying praise God. Amen. That's number one. Next, I'd like to thank my family and my extended family, because I feel like I have a lot of family in the city of Louisville now. And I certainly appreciate my senior leadership team that's here celebrating with me tonight. I won't belabor tonight's event, but I want to say, I just want to share this story. When I was growing up on the west side of Chicago, anybody from Chicago, my ideal was to one day own a business where I could provide jobs where Black people could work. Amen. And so that was my underlying motivation from a child on. I never knew it would be selling hamburgers and that cafe coffees, but I like to thank McDonald's Corporation for seeing something in me, and I'd like to thank that I loved her speech before, and the change, the person that said, no, I'm not just going to go with the flow, I'm going to set this flow, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to say how I feel. So maybe I might own 18 to 20,000 McDonald's, but, you know, as individuals, we have to have integrity about what we stand for. And that means sometimes doors are closed in your face, but, you know, in the long run, everything will work out to your benefit. So, thank you all for this wonderful event.
The next category is for companies with less than 500 employees, and that award will be presented to Mr. Tim Bryan with Churchill Downs Incorporated.
These are the words used to describe Tim Bryan, Corporate Vice President of Gaming Operations at Churchill Downs Incorporation. Tim brings with him over 25 years of gaming experience, leading the Derby City gaming team through unprecedented growth. Tim was instrumental in building the diverse and inclusive environment that exists in Derby City Gaming through his focus on creating opportunities for community involvement and establishing the necessary connections for a diverse workforce. In 2021, Tim led the team to record results, garnering recognition as one of the best places to work by Louisville's Business First for 2 consecutive years. Tim's committed to operational excellence and team culture has served him well throughout his professional career. Tim leads by example while encouraging others to advocate for people within our community. He embraces the opportunity for employees of Churchill Downs Incorporation to get involved with community services, work, and stands firm in support of social justice. Tim is a proud graduate of the University of Central Missouri. Join us as we honor Tim Bryant with the 2023 Dr. Ralph A. Chabert Trustee of Inclusive Equity Award.
I'm truly honored to accept this award tonight, and people that know me well understand how much it means to me. I want to thank Louisville Central Community Center and the organizers of this event. Keep up the great work that you do to advance equity through empowering those that are economically disadvantaged. And congratulations on 75 years. So congratulations and thank you. As a white male, it's important to acknowledge the privileges I've enjoyed throughout my life. While I didn't really appreciate it when I was younger, it became very clear to me as I grew older and traveled that I certainly did have privileges and opportunities that others don't. So it's important that we continue to dismantle systemic barriers and create a truly inclusive society. Speaking of privilege, I have a great team here tonight with me. Derby City Gaming, I think you created something very special. And all I ask is that you continue to be your authentic selves, and you will shine and prosper, and you individually and the company itself. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you.
Our next award for the evening is for our education. Dr. Polio had a family emergency and could not be here this evening, but we still want to recognize him. And Kevin Gunn will come and accept the award on his behalf.
Driven. These are the words used to describe Dr. Marty Polio, Superintendent at Jefferson County Public Schools. Dr. Polio continues to make great strides in making JCPS a place of opportunity for students and employees. Through his leadership, the Advisory Council for Racial Equity was formed. This council oversees decisions that impact the district around diversity, equity, and inclusion. Dr. Polio implemented the School Choice Initiative, which allows students to attend schools in their neighborhoods or a chosen magnet school. Dr. Polio was instrumental in the building of Hudson Middle School, a new middle school in West Louisville, the first in 90 years. Under Dr. Polio's leadership, JCPS has implemented equitable academic programs and services that respond to the needs of a diverse student population, preparing all students for a changing workplace within a global economy. For 20 years, Dr. Polio has dedicated his career to serving the students, families, and employees of JCPS. Dr. Polio began his career with JCPS in 1997 as a teacher, teaching at Shawnee and Wagner High. He then served as principal of Jeffersontown High from 2007 to 2015, before being appointed to superintendent in 2018. In 2021, Dr. Polio was named Kentucky's 2022 Superintendent of the Year by the Kentucky Association of School Administrators. Dr. Polio earned his undergraduate degree from Indiana University, his master's from Eastern Kentucky University, and his doctorate from the University of Louisville. Dr. Polio is a proud husband and father of one daughter who is a JCPS student. Join us as we honor Dr. Polio with the 2023 Dr. Ralph A. Chabert Trustee of Inclusive Equity Award.
Obviously, I'm not Dr. Polio. My name is Kevin Gunn. As Dr. Cosby pointed out, it's a great first name. I am the Youth Services Coordinator at Homestead Academy North, where Dr. Marcella Denise Franklin Williams is our principal, and I accept this award today not just on behalf of Dr. Polio, but on behalf of the great students and the staff of JCPS. I'd like to also thank KJ Fields, who also works with me at JCPS, my wife, Kathy Chanel Gunn, who's a teacher at the Boys Academy, and all of the great people who work under Dr. Polio. So thank you very much.
Next award for this evening will go to healthcare, and tonight we are recognizing Dr. Kelly McInnes.
Yeah.
I'm in love with this man. He's a very good person.
These are the words used to describe Dr. Kelly McInnes, Executive Director for the Northern Institute of Health Equity. Dr. McInnes and his team work to address health and racial inequities within our community by improving access to care, bringing awareness to historical disparities, and anchoring vulnerable neighborhoods with expanded resources. Dr. McInnes was essential in establishing the Northern Institute for Health Equity and locating an office in the villages of West Jefferson. As an African American physician, Dr. McInnes is deeply aware of the structural racism and inequities that exist, as he has experienced them personally. His lived experience assists him in understanding issues and concerns from both the patient and provider's perspective. Through his work, Dr. McInnes has learned the power in addressing socioeconomic dynamics to help patients achieve recovery. Dr. McInnes is committed to health equity and believes that no matter your age, race, or gender, or any other identifying factor, access to quality care and opportunity is a necessity. His vision requires a dedicated, coordinated, and honest approach that is truthful about the historically harmful effects of healthcare inequity. The path forward requires us all to listen, learn, and act in coordination with our community to achieve health equity for all. Dr. McInnes earned his medical degree from Meharry Medical College and completed his internship, residency, and fellowship at the University of Louisville. Dr. McInnes spent his childhood in both Jacksonville, Florida, and Tuscaloosa, Alabama, drawing inspiration from his mother and older brother. Dr. McInnes is the first physician and only the fourth college graduate among 54 members of his extended family. Join us as we honor Dr. Kelly McInnes, MD, with the 2023 Dr. Ralph A. Chabert, Trustee of Inclusive Equity Award.
As I accept this grant. So, on behalf of Northern Healthcare, thank you to the committee, Ralph, Kevin, and everyone that understands and recognizes the vision of our CEO, Russ Cox, and the rest of the organization. While I'm proud to receive this award, I think the best compliment that I've had came from George today. He said, "Doc, thank you for being more than a doctor and not just going home after seeing patients." That is the highest compliment that I've received in a long time. I stand here representing the 5% of African American physicians that don't just go home after seeing patients. So thank you all, I appreciate it, and we have more work to do because we are a service-led organization. Thank you.
Lastly, this evening, our community-based nonprofit grassroots award goes to Mr. George Stingray.
Compassionate, enthusiastic, generous. These are the words used to describe George DeMarie, board member and governance committee chairman at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Kentuckiana. George is a tireless advocate for improving diversity within the agency. He brings his voice to the table, finding synergy between other organizations and social groups that share in Big Brother, Big Sisters of Kentuckiana's mission. Through these relationships, he diversifies the agency, continuing to make beneficial additions to the Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion program. In addition to his board role at Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Kentuckiana, he served as a Big Brother for 3 years. George also serves as the COO for St. Stephen's Baptist Church and the president and CEO of Real Results Consulting Solutions. George has graciously volunteered his time to numerous community organizations. George sets a high bar on mentorship and what it means to impact the lives of others. George is a proud graduate of Eastern Kentucky University, where he majored in business administration and corrections. He is also a proud member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Sigma Pi Phi, and the Ye Old Esquire Club. Join us as we honor George Demery with the 2023 Dr. Ralph Dan Chabert Trustees of Inclusive Equity Award.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very humbled by this. And before I go any further, I got to give good thanks to God who makes all things possible. Amen. Because I'm telling you, that's the only reason I'm standing in front of you right now. If someone had told me years ago that I would be the COO at St. Stephen Baptist Church, I said, there ain't no way possible. All right. But because I'm standing here in front of you with my wife and my mother in the corner, who always has the ability to keep me straight, and my pastor right here, who came to me and said one day and said, George, can you come to work with me? He offered me a little job. You gotta watch Pastor Cosby. Because Pastor Cosby will offer you a little job, and before you know it becomes a big job. Well, let me say this about that before I talk about Big Brothers, Big Sisters. There is nothing I've enjoyed more than working at St. Stephen Baptist Church. Amen. Nothing. There's nothing more important. That's how much I love you and love the work we do at that church. Well, let me spend a couple of minutes about Big Brothers, Big Sisters. There is nothing more important than our children. Come on, man. Nothing. Amen. I love our children. I do everything that we can to help our children. And let me tell you what I discovered while I've had 2 looks, by the way. Let me tell you what I discovered. You don't care about Nikes. You don't care about what you buy them. They don't. All they care about is will you give them some time. Amen. I've discovered that my littles just enjoy riding around in the car with me. You know, I've taken them to ball games and go-karting, but nothing more important than riding around in the car with me, just talking to me. At Big Brothers, Big Sisters, we have 400 to 500 children waiting for mentors. I think that's a tragedy. These children need us. They do. Let me tell you just a quick story, if I may, while I have the platform, right? I had a little one time, he got a little LJ. And one day we're getting gas, and I said, he watched me. Funny enough, how they look. And I think I put 10 gallons worth of gas. He knows that I put premium. And he said, Mr. George, why did you put premium in there? That was 50 cents more per gallon. I said, well, how much more did I pay? He said, I'm not good at math. But I couldn't understand that because he made A's in other subjects. So we talked to him. I said, no, man, you're really good at math. This is what you do. Why is it that the next time he got his report card, he made an A in algebra? Why is that? Because somebody came to him and said, this is who you are, this is what you're good at, and if you do it, you can make it in this world. That's what Big Brother, Big Sister does. So before I sit down, again, I want to thank Kevin Fields, I want to thank the committee for giving me this opportunity, one that I wasn't expecting, but I certainly do cherish. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me again in congratulating the 2023. We ask that you all stay seated for a group photo that will be taken along with our event committee at the end of tonight's program. On behalf of our event planning committee, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude and appreciation to all of those who participated in this extraordinary initiative. As we approach the end of tonight's program, let us remember that our collective commitment toward advancing the values of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging must continue to endure. Our purpose is to acknowledge and celebrate the power of individuals and organizations dedicated to creating a more equitable, inclusive, and just society. And our 2023 honorees exemplifies these important social values, which are urgently needed to address the pressing issues of our time. Each member of our IE Awards recipient exemplifies the spirit of Dr. Ralph D. Chabert, continued legacies, fostering a world where every person has equal opportunities and is celebrated for their unique contributions. The task of selecting the recipients of the awards was both inspiring and challenging this year. The passion and dedication demonstrated by all the nominees have left an indelible mark on us, and we are confident that our current and past nominees and honorees will continue to create a positive change in the respective fields. We also like to extend our heartfelt thanks to generous sponsors, partners who have made this program possible. Your support has allowed us to recognize and honor these outstanding individuals and organizations who tirelessly champion inclusivity, breaking down barriers and building bridges to create a better world for all. At this time, I want to give a special thank you shout out to my HRC team, because without them, I couldn't do this kind of volunteer work. Congratulations to our recipients, and thank you everyone who has been a part of this incredible program. Thank you, and have a happy rest of Juneteenth. I got some amazing MCs that I have to bring back on stage. Thank you.
Did she say MCs or just MCs?
She said amazing MCs. Thank you. That was enough.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, congratulations to all of our award winners this evening. What an amazing honor. So we're so excited for you all.
Thank you for all you do.
Wonderful. So we're coming to the close, so we have to introduce two of the drivers of this event, two drivers of this organization. So please welcome President and CEO, Mr. Kevin Fields, Sr., and Mr. Floyd Smith, who is, Kevin first.
Please give Stefan and Tracy a wonderful round of applause. This year marks 5 consecutive years of this dynamic duo, this husband and wife team, the peaches and herb of LCCC. Thank you guys for blessing us one more time. And before I get into my closing remarks, I've got one other award to present. You know, we curated this award. You've heard about its history. And I like to save a little bit of an element of surprise at the end, because all of the 6 honorees tonight have been nominated by the community, have been vetted by a committee, and have been thus selected and honored tonight. But I like to hold on to the distinct privilege of presenting the President's Award. So, drum roll, please. No, I'm just kidding. No, honestly, last year we honored Renee Goatley, and she, head of her, Floyd Smith, they certainly have earned this distinction. Before that, Dr. Ralph D. Chabert, who gave us the starting fuel to start this program back in 2018. but the team that has carried us and given us a face of distinction in our community has been none other than Tracy and Stefan. So they are the recipients of this year's President's Award. Show them some love. Show them some love. We really appreciate them. We want to honor them tonight.
Thank you very much. I see the photographer from WBRB here. I texted him and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm here to talk to Dr. Cosby," so maybe he told me this. For those of you who got here late, I just want to share one more time. The first year I did it, and I have migraine headaches. I had a migraine headache and didn't have my glasses, so Tracy jumped in to save the day. And the next year they said, "Can we get Tracy? And if Stefan hasn't come, then she can bring him." And so that's why I'm still here today. Thank you again. I appreciate you guys so much.
My pastor, my friend, and my leader, it was an easy choice. In fact, Dr. Cosby came to our first Inclusive Equity Awards just to bring remarks. And tonight, Doc, this was a phenomenal message. And we're on research like you are. And so we've got it on video. I'm going to study the tape. I'm going to make my notes, and you're going to see this published somewhere at some point. This story that you gave us tonight. But thank you. Let's give Dr. Cosby. Certainly to the board of directors of LCCC, thank you. All that you do year-round. You know it's a marathon, but we don't get tired, and I appreciate our board. Certainly want to thank Ralph again. When we approached Ralph at Brown Foreman in 2017, I think it was, and I think someone said it before, he never said no, he said go. And we've been going, Ralph, and we're honored to present this program, at least as long as I'm here, but I hope into infinity for many years to come in your honor. So thank you so much. Let's give Ralph. Well, there's so many people to thank, and I know going in that I'm going to probably forget a few, but I want to start with my staff at LCCC. We have a phenomenal staff. Trina Tinsley's still here. Trina's a phenomenal leader, manages all of our business affairs, and has been doing so almost 40 years. We've never missed a beat on her leadership, so thank you to Trina. Thank you to Deborah Brand, who runs our facility here and makes sure all the dots, all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and just does a wonderful job. Thank you to Lisa Birch, who is a phenomenal executive assistant. And she's any details. I do want to do a couple quick things. If you have a cell phone near you, whether it's in your pocket, in your purse, pull it out. I want you to do two quick things with your cell phone. The first thing I want you to do is Google. You can go out to Amazon, you can just go to Google and type in Getting to the Promised Land by the Reverend Dr. Kevin W. Cosby. Look that book up, and it's on sale. You can purchase it on Amazon.com, and we're not doing it because Dr. Cosby needs the money, but trust me, if you read the book like I have, it is a blueprint for what America needs to do, and in his hometown, we all need to know what that blueprint contains, right? So read that book. Go out, it's on sale tonight. The second thing I want you to do with your cell phone, and if you're a little tech challenge, I'll give you a second, so you get the first. No, just remember, you can come back to that. But it was mentioned that in your souvenir journal that everyone should take with them tonight, you can turn to page 19. And we've got a QR code. And as a chief executive, that summed it up. We remind our planning committee, this is a phenomenal event. It was, curated to do something very impactful. But at the end of the day, it's a fundraiser. And we're just going to be clear about that. Just scan that QR code. It will take you directly to the donation page. We know sponsors have already contributed. We know that you may have bought a ticket to be here tonight. But we're asking you to stretch a little bit above that. If you don't do it tonight, we're here 365 days a year. You can decide to do it at a later date. But please find it in your heart to donate to this mission, because LCCC, as we call ourselves, is celebrating 75 years of its mission of advancing equity, and we've done that 75 years consistently with the backdrop of the deepest pocket of poverty in this county, and in one of the poorest census tracts in all of America, right here. So if we can endure, we need help. We often get asked as fundraisers, what does your community do for you? So if you guys are our community, this is your chance. So help us with that. I was careful on the amount of time that we're going to take tonight, so I'm going to probably miss out, but certainly want to thank our honorees again and congratulate them. We are going to have a photo shoot with them right after. That's why we wanted you all to stay up front so that we wouldn't lose you. So directions to the photographers, make sure we get a group shot. And we're going to ask our committee to come and stand with these honorees as we close out tonight. We've had a great support from sponsors. I do want to acknowledge all the sponsors. You've been acknowledged a few times tonight. And we want to continue to acknowledge you. The names are all listed in the program. I do want to acknowledge, got a chance to chat with Rebecca, with Pepsi. Where's Rebecca? She gone? All right, well, she's very gracious and reminding us to reach out to her. More often than not, reach out to her. PepsiCo is a great sponsor. COSAIR Charities, certainly, Metro United Way, Irisol, with McDonald's, thank you so much for your support. 4th Street Live, 7 counties, and certainly at the top of the list is Brown Foreman Corporation. Our Blue Ribbon sponsors are all listed there. I'm not going to read all the sponsors, but I'm not reading them because I don't appreciate them. I really appreciate sincerely everybody. I do want to mention that we have gotten the support from a new sponsor, new to LCCC, in the form of Heaven Hill Distilleries. And I really want to thank them for reaching out to us and inviting us to join them on July the 15th for a special announcement. So we want to thank Heaven Hill tonight for joining behind groups like Brown Foreman and supporting this community. It's so important that corporate Louisville, especially corporate West Louisville, supports our organizations, all of them. You don't have to pick and choose which one of us to support. Support all of us. It's an easy decision, easy choice, and it's well worth it. I want to acknowledge, thank you, Leanne, for being here. Leanne French is here from Mayor Greenberg's administration. Google Metro is doing great work. She's going to help us to reimagine the university. We pray. We're keeping our prayers alive for that. I do want to acknowledge Larry Sloan back there in the back. I'm a proud Rotarian, and I'm serving with people like Larry and many, many others. Our president, Walker Lewis, is a great leader, and I'm there to lead the club's focus on equity, diversity, and inclusion. And, we want to make a difference. We really are going to make a difference. We're focusing right now as a Rotary Club on helping Black entrepreneurs to be strong and being a part of that ecosystem that is an emerging ecosystem in our community is very, very important, and the Rotary is stepping up to that. I also want to acknowledge Floyd Smith, and I'm going to hand it over to him with this. I want you to pay attention to the back of your Journal. Floyd has been our planning committee chair of this event, and he gets an early start. He starts reminding us before the holidays that we're going to do this event and wants to convene the committee. And this particular piece on the back is a great piece that's curated by none other than Ben Reeves. Ben's still here. Ben is an awesome graphic artist, and he curated this piece that probably still would have done Floyd. But it's a message, it's a love letter to Floyd's family, and it's a love letter to this community presented in fine style. So let me just pass it over to Floyd Smith, and as I do that, please give him a great applause. And again, we're here to serve, as Pastor Cosby stated, and I'm a firm believer, it's not about me, it's not about LCCC, it's about what's in us to give to our community. And it starts with our children. It starts with our children. We have a strong focus on early education from birth to 5 at the university. From birth to 5. And trust me, as a community, as a society, if we think we're going to wait until kids start kindergarten to start trying to educate them, then guess what? The data speaks loud. Half of them show up not prepared for the first day of school in kindergarten. So we focus from birth to 5. We also have a strong focus on school-age children. And we saw examples of that investment with the young people that were here tonight. We're proud of all of them. Najaya, Mariah, Chase, and certainly Carson, and Shia. I want to give a big shout out to Shia. Is she gone? Because she's my cousin. Yeah, check this out. Her great grandmother and my grandfather were brothers and sisters. As Buna Northington and Benny Gardner. So it's great to see her keeping the family tradition alive. You said you heard her. She's an actress, and you will see her on the big screen. So let me give it to Floyd and say thank you, everybody. God bless you, and good night.
I will not take long. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who took out the time to spend time with us tonight. For these young people, thank you for spending time with them. And if you could just do this for me by yourself, point at yourself and say, I did it. You all did it tonight. And thank you for what you've done. The only other thing I would say is, Ralph, Sonia, thank you for the program. Ben, I'm sorry. Ben and Sonia, thank you for the program. It's a time capsule of my upbringing. Back on a plantation in Mississippi, Silver Creek Plantation is where I grew up on. And my family was still there in 2008. But God has blessed us in so many ways. And I thank Ralph for putting that together. The only other thing I have is, thank you so very much and good night.
I know I was positioning important people. Let me once again thank Clinton Bennett for being here once more. And Siberia Period, she was the voice talent on these videos. She's only been with us 6 weeks and certainly hit the ground running. But again, good night. We're going to ask our planning committee and anybody else who wants to come up and congratulate our honorees. We are going to take some pictures with them like this.